Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to another stream today. If you're able to come live, thank you so much. But if you're able or you're watching the video on demand after, thank you so much as well for coming. So I'll just get right into it. So today is another stream where I'm gonna have to kind of not like just maybe an hour or an hour and a half. Unfortunately, like this week or this month really has been super busy. Especially I've been hosting my friend who's been here. So tomorrow is my friend's last day here. So lots in the morning I have to do lots to prepare and lots to help them with. So hopefully everything goes well. Oh, hello, Vidim-san. Thank you so much for coming. And hi, everyone. Thank you for coming. I know that there's some people watching but unable to chat, but thank you so much for tuning in. So today's topic I really wanted to talk about was something that I keep seeing come up in the recent days, honestly, the last few weeks and the recent days. And hello, Avery. Thank you for coming. Good to see you. So it kind of started really, I guess you could say last week when, we visited Shiba Kyokai, and then this Saturday again, we visited Shiba Kyokai, me and my friend. Oh, hi, Ryan. Thank you for coming. And we were talking, with everyone there, and that this Saturday, on what day was it? I think it was the 14th. Yes. So we went there on the 14th, and we were talking to some of the other members, and they were so like energetic and so genki, like so happy and exciting, excitable. And we found out that their age was already like older 70s, like mid 70s, almost 80, and some were 80, and we could not believe it because they were they were so energetic, they were so like really full of like energy and power, and like I think we were joking that they had more energy than us because we were basically, oh, hi Terrence, thank you for coming. Basically we were tasked, like that Saturday was a day to like clean up the shrine. So were like cleaning up the storage room and the other areas of the shrine, helping out. And me and my friend were like, and my other friend were in our 30s, early 40s. And then everyone else at the kyokai, at the shrine, they're kind of more like older, like 60 and up. But we didn't think that they were like in their 70s, 80s. We thought that they were like early 60s, mid 60s, because they were just so full of energy, and they were like moving heavy boxes and like cleaning up and bringing heavy bags and everything. We're like, oh my goodness, they have more energy than us. But it was a really nice day. And, the reason I'm mentioning this is because we were like, it got me thinking about, I guess, like, that was the first moment of this past few days that kind of got me thinking about, like, people's age and how we age in through life and how we kind of take that, I guess. I don't know, explain it. But basically that was kind of like the first thing. Then the next day, you know, we were having like, I was talking to a few people, and there was like here in the shrine, and there was like an elder member, and we were like sharing like generational discussions. So for example, like the elder person I was talking to, he's not like super elder, he's like late 50s, early 60s, and he's like a professor at a university, and he teaches, of course, like early 20s, like 18-year-old, mostly, generally speaking. And we were talking about like the generational differences between like how he was in school and like things like that. So anyway, like long story short, like there was a lot of moments this week that kind of, I guess I feel like it was Kami-sama telling me like to think about like generational connections, like intergenerational connections and inter like age connections. I felt like Kami-sama was trying to like show me like to think about it and to reflect on it. And I wanted to share today during live like some of these reflections and thoughts, I guess. And I would love to hear your opinions and comments too. So like the thing I want to say is that like what I kind of realized at the end of this like these last few days and praying about it to Kami-sama was that, like, I think that I think we've talked about this before. Like, I think I've talked about it before on streams, but I think that, like, someone's, like, age, whether they're like their physical age, like whether they're older or younger, um, that does not define who they are as a person, or the level of wisdom or knowledge that they have or experience. And what I mean by experience is, like, the amount of obstacles or difficult situations or life experiences that we've had to overcome. So, there's some people who are young and they've had to go through a lot of painful things and a lot of difficult things. And then there's someone who might be older, but they haven't really gone through any, like, major life changes quite yet. Like, their parents are still alive, or they've never really moved from their city or house, things like that, right? So that's what I mean by experience. But the only thing that I would say is that, like, with age and time, you do learn simply from the fact that you've had more chances to go through life, like go through the seasons of life. So it might not give you more wisdom or knowledge in terms of experiences or growing up yourself as a person, but in when someone's older or younger just determines, like, the amount of time that they've either been able to process something that's happened to them already, or the amount of time that they've been able to see patterns happening over time. So, like, an older person has seen more patterns and, like, time over a longer period, and a younger person might not have that, or doesn't usually have that chance to see the longer period of time overall. But that doesn't mean that they're not, like, wise or intelligent. So it's kind of like just the level of, like, time, the passage of time can give us a perspective with age or the lesser age, but it doesn't mean that it defines, like, our knowledge or wisdom. So, I was saying before, like, when I was younger, like, what I mean by that is, like, in my 15-year-old age to early 20s, like, people are, like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, people would say, like, oh, you're very, like, genuinely, they would say, like, you're, like, very smart for your age and you're very mature. And that was only because I feel I had to go through a lot of experiences when I was younger, like a lot of difficult things, which forced me to kind of, like, mature to, like, in terms of, like, having responsibility for things. So, like, even though I was younger, I was responsible for a lot of things. So it made me kind of adapt to that responsibility with more maturity, or, like, trying to, not just, like, ignore difficult things, but, like, face them head on. But that was still, like, it was still, like, my youth, right? So there were still things that I had to learn from the passage of time. But there was also things that, like, I was able to teach others even older than me. And then the older people teach me things too. So, what I'm trying to get here is that a lot of times, like, I feel like in, like, intergenerational spaces, like spaces where you'll interact with people older than you or younger than you or the same age, I feel like sometimes it can become very, like, volatile at times, because it's either that, like, the older people in the group feel like they have to be the teacher of the younger group, and then the younger group feels like they want to do things, like, their own way. And not all the time. I'm not, like, trying to say, like, everybody's like this, but, like, just in my experience, like, generally speaking, I noticed this trend in intergenerational groups. And to be honest, I feel like that it always ends up really, like, stifling in that situation, because I feel like the older people can learn from the younger people, and then, you know, like I feel like that's important to remember, is that like even if you're like a sensei or like an adult or like an elder, um there's still like, that doesn't mean you know everything yet. So even someone younger than you can teach you many things. And like I feel like that's really important to remember in intergenerational groups. And then as well for like the younger people, I feel like, honestly, I generally feel like most of the time, like younger people are like, they want to learn from the older generation more, and they're like, they want to like look like, naturally, at least for me, like naturally, like I look up now to older people, and when I was younger, I looked up to older people. So I feel like that's kind of more natural. Not all the time, of course. Like sometimes, like younger person might like not always like see an older person's wisdom as like they should try to consider it. But I think it's important to consider basically like, it's not about the age. That's what I'm trying to say. It's just we have to look at each other as people, like just people as a whole. So like we can learn something from each other, no matter our age or experiences. And because we're all varied and different ages and experiences, that makes it better, because then we can have multiple viewpoints and multiple experiences. And like it just makes things easier in terms of like evolution, in terms of like gaining knowledge and problem solving, and things like that. So like, for example, like this week I had a friend who works in like an office job. And in the office job, like um there was like so like most people in the office job are like 20 to like 40 age, but there was like a new hire who was like in their 50s. And everyone wanted to treat them with respect, because they know that like even though they're the same like title, I guess. But they all logically knew that like this person has way more like life experience and experience in the job. So it was like they wanted to try to connect to them and like see what they could learn from them. And they're hoping that the person as well would like connect to them and not like try to like look down on them or like think that they don't know anything. Right? So thankfully, in this situation, like everyone was able to get along, and they were sharing like experiences either way. So the older person was saying like, in my experience it's like this, and then the younger generation was like, these are our experiences with like the new system, and then it's like this. So because they had that like intergenerational connection, like things were going way better in the office. So like, I was doing like turitsuki for this person, and they were nervous about it. But then like I got an email this week, like the last few days, and they were like, everything's going well. I'm really thankful that this person's here, because we have more like well-rounded viewpoints. And that's like the ideal, right? So I was really happy to hear that, because it could have gone really bad too, because not everyone is always like open-minded and things like that. And that's what got me thinking, like sometimes in these like atmospheres, like there can be a lot of like animosity, like like conflict, like fighting, and not like direct face-to-face fighting, but like, I don't know how to explain it, but like insecurities, I guess, like on both sides. So like, the older person might feel insecure that the younger people don't respect them or like care about them as much, but the people might feel insecure that the older person is not like working together with them or like respecting them, right? Because they want to be heard too. So like it's very tragic when it happens, because like basically I think like generally speaking, everybody wants to be respected by each other. Because again, like it's not about the age, it's about the fact that we're all people and we're all individuals and we all have our own thoughts and feelings. And we all want to be treated with respect, no matter our age. So I think like when that's forgotten, or like there's kind of like this like wall between the generations just because of age, it makes me really sad because it makes so much unnecessary conflict and like issues. And instead of sharing knowledge, it just ends up being like very toxic and like difficult to work with everybody. And it's very sad, right? And I want to kind of like, I guess what Kami-sama maybe was trying to show me is that like, um because like in the Hiromai, or like in a shrine, this is like, or like, teaching about the faith, it's gonna be multi-generational, because it's not like faith is like for everybody, right? So like I want to, I guess like what I felt Kami-sama was trying to show me was that like trying to like cultivate a place, or like like an atmosphere that there's just mutual respect. And it's not like um like looking down on people because either because they're older, because they're younger, or expecting like someone older to have like more wisdom over someone younger, because someone younger might have more wisdom than someone older. And that's okay. Like it doesn't mean like it's better or worse, it just means like different knowledge and different experiences. So I think I was like thinking about that through this past few days. And I've come across a lot of times where there's like someone who's older, but they're kind of more like, I don't want to say like, it's not like childish, but they're more like innocent, I guess. So like their physical age is older, but they have a very innocent like soul, I guess. Like their soul is very like, like they trust people a lot, and they kind of like, it's difficult for them to kind of like consider like, like the whole situation. You know what I mean? I don't know if I'm explaining this right. And then there can be someone who's younger, but they're more like mature because they've had to deal with a lot of like responsibilities. And I'm not saying like this is very tricky, because I'm not saying like someone younger should have the same responsibilities as an adult, or necessarily like has the same like as what I was saying earlier, like the time experience as an adult. But in terms of like sharing knowledge and sharing wisdom, I think that there should be an exchange, like a healthy exchange. And it shouldn't just be like, oh well, you're like a baby kid, like you don't know anything, and just ignore you, and then like look up to the elder people, but then they're like very naive and innocent, not naive, but innocent soul, and they like haven't really had a lot of responsibilities in their lifetime or experiences. So I think that's really important to consider when going through like intergenerational spaces. And you know it's not like I wasn't like thinking about this before. Kami-sama showed me this week. But I guess like I in terms of like wanting to like openly talk about it and like share the thoughts and like open the discussion for this topic, because I think it's something that like it's not something that will just be solved in like one conversation. Like it's something to kind of like consider as we like are in this religious community, whether that's like in the Konko Faith, or like whether it's like experience with Jinja or like shrines as a whole, um, or like even in life in general. It's just something that is good to keep thinking about in terms of like people's ages. Oh, hi, welcome, Ted. So like that's kind of what I wanted to like talk about today, is that like, you know, I want my ideal kind of space, I guess, is like that, like no matter someone's age, is that like we respect each other and understanding that, you can learn knowledge from different types of people. And what also got me thinking about it was like I remember my time when I was living in North America and I would go to the KCNA conferences. And of course, like I was probably one of the younger people there at the time. I was like, I would say like 19 to like 22 at that time. And I'm going to be 33 in April. So it was like 10 years ago, a long time ago. But like at that time, I had gone through a lot in life. Like I had gone through like moving house many times, like, growing up without a lot of money. My mom was a single mom. Like there was a lot of things we've been through over the years. Whereas like when I spoke to a lot of the adults in like the KCNA conference, like I'd go to the Konko conferences and I would speak to a lot of the adults. And they kind of like a lot of the people there had like a very stable life. So they stayed in one place a long time. Schooling was never an issue. They had like tuition was like supported, things like that. Like life was a little bit more gentle on them. And I honestly like to think maybe it's because of like the virtue of their generations past who were praying to Kami-sama, and it kind of like that like divine virtue was like blessing the family. Not to say like Kami-sama like blesses people who pray to them or not, but just like practicing faith brings blessings. So it was like natural that like the family that was practicing faith sincerely with Kami-sama, they were able to receive many more blessings, whereas like me, like it's just like we were in chaos all the time. Like it was so chaotic and like so messy and like so many crazy things going on. So it was harder for Kami-sama to reach us until like of course I found Konko Faith. So I think it was like kind of like that difference. So for me it was like really hard to relate to a lot of the older people, or like even kind of like, I don't want to sound arrogant, but you know what I mean, like in terms of like finding advice or guidance in terms of like a hard life. It was difficult to find it among like a lot of people there until I met certain senseis who did understand. Um, but again, it wasn't like based on the age or anything. It was just like that was the kind of life circumstances that happened. So, but the positive thing about that environment was that even though I was like young person and I was new, um, they like all the adults, like the older adults, because I was an adult like back then, like I was 20, But what I mean is like people in their like 40s, 50s, 60s. Um, they never looked down on me. Like they never said like, "Oh, you don't know anything," or like, "You're just a dumb like university kid," or whatever. Like no one said that to me. But they like actively listened to me and like showed like basic respect to me. And that was something I really didn't was able to receive a lot from like trusted adults growing up. Like teachers in my school would always kind of like disrespect the students, and like there's my family, but it was like very chaotic. So there was times of support, and then times it was just too crazy to really like it was just too much. So I never really was able to experience that. But even though like I was in that position, the adults in the Konko Faith, the older adults, were treated me with like the basic decency and respect, and they listened to what I was talking about. And I really appreciated that, because so many times I was used to just being like looked down on, and like you're dumb, and like you don't know anything, and so many things like that. So it really meant a lot to me at that time that like I was actually listened to and like treated with respect, and like, I just felt it was really good. And so like now, like when I'm like 10 years later, when I meet people younger than me, I want to give that same way I was treated to people younger than me, because I remember how much that meant to me. So, I thought it was like a good way to be to people younger and not like fall into like the typical like, oh, you don't know anything, etc. And like of course there was like things that like I learned so much in the 10 years from 22 to 32. So of course there was like things I didn't know. That's true, that's obvious. But it's not like I knew nothing, right? It's not like I didn't know like anything at all. It's not like I was like a 3-year-old child. There was things I had gone through. So I think that's like the balance, right? That like you can acknowledge someone is like young and they still have a lot to go through, but you can also acknowledge that they've also experienced many things, and it's important to show basic decent respect. And it really meant a lot to me as well, because like not only like was I look seriously looked down on, like it wasn't like, because sometimes people joke, like they joke like, oh, you're just a baby, you're just a kid, and it's like lighthearted banter, that's not a big deal. But like people would treat me like genuinely like disrespected, like disrespectful, like they would genuinely like look down on me and like think less of me just because I was younger. And I don't think that's right. I don't think that's correct way to be. And like so what was I trying to say is that like it also meant a lot to me because at that age too and before, there were people who didn't only look down on me, but they tried to like take advantage of me as well, because they knew that like I had like experiences, but I didn't have like the time experience, right? I didn't have enough cycles in my life to see like patterns or like understand the mindset of when you like really have that time to be an adult, like outside of school. Like I didn't have that experience yet. So what bothered me more than the people who looked down on me were people who tried to take advantage of me for that like inexperience and knowledge. And sometimes it was like really creepy too, like in a creepy way, and also in like a really awful way, like in terms of like money, like trying to take advantage of me in terms of finances, or like, you know, romantically, I guess. Romantic, I don't really call it I don't really call it that. But like these sorts of situations, right? And I thought that was really like, to me, that's kind of evil. I would say that's pretty like really horrible to do to someone else. And again, like you're not seeing the person as an individual to respect. You're just seeing them as like something lesser, like a lesser object, all because of like their age. And I found that like really horrible that that happens. And it happens like people say it's like, oh, it's only just a few bad people who do that. And I'm like, no, it's actually quite common, unfortunately. And like I don't like, even like, of course you hear about like creepies, like creepy people, but even like people who would consider themselves like, for example, like my teachers, like they would try to like manipulate a situation, thinking that I wasn't understanding what was going on because I was younger. Like if I tried to like explain to them like there was something going on at home and I wasn't able to finish like an assignment, and could I please have a deadline, they would try to like twist the situation and say like, oh well, you don't really need a extension. And like I've been through experiences with students like you, et cetera, et cetera. Instead of just showing like the basic communication and respect that I really needed at that time from an adult. And when I look back, I was close in age. I am close in age now to some of my teachers in like middle school and high school. And I cannot comprehend like treating a kid or like a younger person like that as the way I was treated. Like I genuinely cannot comprehend like why would they like show so much like inability or unwillingness to communicate and find a compromise. It was just trying to take advantage of a younger person. And they might have thought I wouldn't remember or I wouldn't realize, but I do remember and I did realize at the time. And it was very like, that stuck with me, right? So I still remember all these times. And again, like now that I'm close to their age, I cannot imagine like doing the same thing that they did. And I think it's healthier to emulate the way that the older adults in like the Konko Faith treated me, which was just like with genuine respect. Um, I still remember like during one of the like KCNA KCNA is Konko Churches of North America. There was like an event or like some, I don't remember now, but it was like a discussion. It was like a group discussion. And I remember I was explaining my answer, which probably was like unorthodox or like not like logical, I guess, because I was explaining my concept of kami-sama from like my own experiences, like my own personal spiritual experiences. And I knew that it wasn't like really like by the book kami-sama explanation. But we were having a discussion about our experiences in Konko Faith so far. And I was only kind of like 2 years in, like 2 years into Konko Faith, like practicing. So my answer would be different now, but back then it was like very like complicated. But everyone just listened and they weren't like, not paying attention, but they were like genuinely like I remember like one of the senseis, they were like, they had like a notebook and they were like, like paying attention to me. And I was like, oh, okay. Like I was really moved by that. And then after I finished explaining, they would like ask me questions too, like, so like why do you think that, and like what led you to that belief. And I was able to, like, they gave me the space to express myself and express my opinions. And like even though they didn't agree, and that was okay, but I was so thankful that they just gave me the space to explain it. Even though I was like way younger and like a new person and like I had no idea what I was talking about. um, I just was thankful that basic respect was there. And then of course, like in turn, um, I wanted to give them like the respect and the space. Of course, like I don't know, for me, like I naturally like respected them as older adults, but like I respected them even more because I was given the respect I wasn't expected to receive. So I was like even more grateful and respected their attitude uh, towards like, because I knew logically like respecting someone younger is not common, and I was expecting to be treated the way I had been treated like through my whole life thus far. But because I wasn't, I was so like pleasantly surprised, and I was very moved. So of course I wanted to show the same respect back. So it was kind of like this dynamic that, and these experiences that really taught me like, you know, I really liked that environment and like mindset more than like the typical mindset you might find in certain, excuse me, like intergenerational environments. So it was like kind of like thinking about it like that. Also, hi Michael, welcome. And that also ties into like so like another thing that this all ties into is like how someone is like perceived like visually and audibly. So, and like their gender, etc. So like not only is there a tendency for people as a whole to kind of like look down on someone younger or like try to take advantage of them, unfortunately. Or, in some cases, people might see someone older and also not respect them or also not take them seriously. Like, especially, I feel like this happens a lot in my generation, like 30-year-old, 40-year-old. They see someone like in their 60s or 70s, and they're like, oh, this like old man, this old woman, like who cares what they think, blah, 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 blah. And I don't think that's right either. I don't think it's right to say, like, to disrespect someone like that. Um, Again, like, even though wisdom doesn't depend on someone's age, it's the same principle. Whether someone is younger than you or older than you, we have to show basic respect and like being treated how we would want to be treated. I don't think it's a matter of like age, but it's just being a good person, So I think that's really important because, like, I don't like when people like my generation say stuff like that, because it's like why are you being so weird like that? Like we don't, like, yeah, we've been through like all this time, like 30 years, 40 years, etc. But think about all you've learned from age 20 to 30, and like then it should be logically follow that like someone who has existed for another like 3 decades would also have learned a lot in those 3 decades, even if it's not, like, even if it's just a passage of time. There's still that growth that happens, so we should respect that too. um so I don't really like, I don't really understand that or like really like that mindset. I mean, obviously, if an older person is being like rude, disrespectful, cruel, yeah, you don't have to show respect to someone who's like that. Again, it's not about age, but it's just about like the person themselves. So, if an older person, they're normal, they're kind, they're just doing what they can, like, why not show respect, right? But of course, if an older person's like rude and etc., like, you don't, like, I wouldn't really feel inclined to like show respect, or I wouldn't naturally have respect for someone who's rude or mean, no matter their age, whether they're like younger, my age, older. I wouldn't respect someone who's like just a cruel person, because like I would try to show basic respect, but I know that they would treat me bad, so I wouldn't like. It's hard, right? Like, it's hard to have genuine, sincere respect for someone like that. So that's what I'm trying to say. Like says, you have to earn. So quotation. You have to earn my respect. End quote. Is such a common mentality in older generations. Ah, yes. Maybe if the only way you could respect me is by me doing something that makes you satisfied, I don't need your respect. Ah, yes, exactly. I don't like that mindset. I like why. Like, I don't get it. It feels like a power move on those types of people who reach a certain age, and they think that like they don't owe anyone basic decent respect. I think, yeah, like, it doesn't matter anyone's age, but we all like owe basic respect to people. I think that should be a given. Like, even like for me, like, even children, like, I show basic respect to them. Like, I don't think that they're like that they like, I can do, like, I can just like shove them, or like, some people, like, they're like, give auntie a hug, and then it's like if they don't hug the auntie, they're like offended. And it's like, well, no, because if you're like, an adult shouldn't be forced to like hug someone they don't want to, so why are we forcing a child? Like, again, it should be just like basic common respect, and doesn't matter like the age, even if they're a kid, like, we should show basic respect. Now, of course, like, parents is a different story, because parents have to raise their kid, and like, but even then, I think that we should show basic respect, like these, like, common decency, kindness, being polite, respecting someone's autonomy, and things like that. These are really important things, and I know there's always like exception and nuance, and it's complicated. But I think you all know what I'm talking about. Is like, we need to have that basic respect, and even if someone's older, um, that doesn't mean that they shouldn't, or they're exempt from showing basic respect to someone. And it's true, like, maybe I should show being a good person to earn more respect from someone older who has a lot of wisdom and experience. That's true. Like for example, if I want to be respected by my sensei beyond basic respect, I would have to show like I am worthy of like that higher respect. But it shouldn't be that I'm trying to show I'm worthy of basic respect, because that should be just a given to everybody. And even like animals and nature, like we should just have that as a baseline, right? Like that should be for everything, everyone. That should come from inside of us to show respect to everything around us. So that's what I'm trying to say. Let's see. So, oh, it's a new person. Hello, hey, welcome. So, anxious artisan says, unfortunately, to some people, that means I won't respect you until you grovel for me or show you're useful. Here towards kids a lot. Anxious artisan says, I think respecting kids as a parent is absolutely vital. Respect doesn't mean you bend over backwards or give them everything they want, but acknowledge they're people with agency. Absolutely. Oh, hi, Tora. Welcome. Oh, good to see you. Thank you for coming. Yeah, no, exactly. Like I don't like like it just feels gross to me. Like it feels super gross when people say stuff like that. Um like again, it's like especially for kids, like young kids, children, it's like they see them as like either like it's like they don't see them as individuals. They either see them as like tools or like dolls or like I don't know, like servants, like honestly. And it's really disturbing to me because it's like, yes, like as a parent, like for in terms of like a parent and a child, like yes, a parent has to be responsible for their child and they have to guide them the right way. And sometimes they have to make hard decisions for them because legally it's like they can't like make a lot of decisions. But that doesn't mean like they're like your like slave or something. Like that doesn't mean they're like your doll or like they have to obey like oh my gosh, like I can't do anything by myself without your permission. Like it should be like there's an authority, there's like a vertical relationship, but it should be based in respect for one another, and the parent acknowledging that the child is an individual and that individual child will grow up to be an adult, a full adult, and they will have memories of that childhood and memories of how they were treated. And that is something that I feel like a lot of like parents and adults don't really consider or like think about. And it makes me really angry because I remember my childhood very well. And I probably, when I spoke to adults, I probably sounded crazy. I probably sounded like so silly and like a kid. But in my head, I remember like everything and like how I was treated. And I'm like, again, like I'm an adult now and I remember all of those things. And I wish that I was treated more as an individual. Um, even if like being guided or taught things or being told no, that wasn't a problem. I really appreciated that I had that guidance. But just again, like it all boils down to that basic respect. Like that's dignity and respect, and autonomy. Respecting autonomy is so important. I mean, even not just with kids, but like with very like super like really really elders, like 90, late 80s, when they can't do too much by themselves anymore. Yeah, like sometimes their adult child has to be the caretaker now and make hard decisions and take care of their needs. And but that doesn't mean that they should be disrespected or taken advantage of or mistreated. Again, like it's not about the age, but it's the basic respect that's so important. So yeah, Michael says, absolutely. In my opinion, the best way to treat children is to treat them like normal people. Um, so yeah, I agree, and I'm glad. I'm really thankful you guys say so because like you guys are really good parents. So thank you so much for. I'm glad you like see what I'm saying too. That's really important because like it's just horrible, like how this happens. And it's like I feel like these like people who treat kids like this or elders like, well, especially kids, like it's like they don't remember what it's like to be a child, and they don't remember, or they do remember, and they think it's okay to repeat the pattern of how they were treated. Because again, like the way I was treated as a child, I I'm now the age of those adults, and it's like mind boggling. Like I don't even understand like how, like I look at a kid now and I'm like, oh my god, like like they need to be protected and cared for, and like I want to help them through life. I don't want to like hurt them or take advantage of them or like do all the stuff that happened to me. So it's just like cannot I cannot comprehend it. So it's just like it's bad. It's bad sometimes. Okay, so Michael says, yesterday a friend of mine with a 5-year-old girl told me they were in zoo and there was a display about evolution. She asked what it is, and he told her she could not understand it yet. She insisted, so he tried to explain it to her and ended up having a 30-minute lecture with her listening still happening. Oh, okay, good ending. I'm glad it was a happy ending. Oh, thank goodness. But yeah, like, oh my gosh. So Mike says, you won't understand it because you're still too small for that. It's such a terrible concept. Oh no, absolutely. Like that, like it's gonna just cause so many it makes, first of all, in my opinion, because when I was younger, when that happened to me, it makes me feel like less confident in myself. Like it makes me feel lesser and like I'm stupid, and like I feel so like small, right? Like I feel like I really really wanted to understand, but I'm being denied that knowledge and teaching. So I feel so like small and like I'm not worthy of being taught these important things that I want to learn. So maybe it's true, like maybe I won't understand like the whole concept, but I still want to be respected enough to be taught it, and treated like I'm someone who can understand this knowledge. So I think that's like where the core of it lies. Like again, like maybe it's true, like I can't understand a lot of things conceptually like as a child, but I still want to be treated with the respect that I can be taught it and it can be explained to me. So I think that's a really important. And honestly, yeah, like kids like are able to understand so much. And so even more like even more like whether they're like a young kid or like going older to like middle school, like high school, like of course, like especially then, like just explain everything as if they were like a grown, like, or not a grown adult, but you know what I mean? Like, just explain everything directly and teach as it is. And, you know, yeah, you can simplify the concepts or make the concepts more like, easily to digest. Because even if, even for me, like if someone were to, if like a, if like a quantum physicist were to come here and explain like his level or her level of understanding, I'd be like, I'm happy you're teaching this to me, but I do not understand what's going on. So I would want them to kind of like bring it down to my commoner level, even as an adult. So, for kids too, like sometimes you gotta like the same content of knowledge, but like, a little bit easier to digest. And then you can like, then once they get the basics, then you can like, keep going. So that's kind of the same thing, but you know, just giving them the respect to teach them and to begin with is important. Because if the quantum physicist was like, you're not going to understand this, you're stupid, you don't understand anything, like you're just a basic person who never went to like I don't know, physics class, I'd be like, okay, I feel really bad. But if they were like kind to me and like showed me that they want to teach me, I feel really good. So it's like the same kind of concept, you know. Tara-san says, kids are able to understand so much when we get on their level to explain. They have huge imaginations and deep inner lives. Oh, yes, exactly. Yeah, and Michael says, exactly, to Olivia. Yeah, I'm glad you guys agree. Yeah. No, absolutely. Like, again, like like we're all humans. We're all like individuals. We all have like mitama no kami in my belief, like in Konko belief too. But like I believe all of us have a soul. All of us have mitama no kami. And even though our physical age like needs time to mature and to understand things as the brain develops, because the brain is like the interface and how we're going to connect knowledge with the mitama no kami and experiences. But again, like it's all about the respect, right? And it's the same thing too, like just bringing it back, like even if someone's older and you think like, oh, they're not going to understand like new tech or like new concepts, so I'm not going to bother explaining it to someone older. That's also not good, because we like that's not showing respect. Like maybe it's true, maybe like for example, like sometimes like when you try to teach one of your parents like how to use a phone, they're like they have the glasses and they're like, what? And they're like really slow with it. But that doesn't mean that we should be disrespectful and be like, oh, I'm not gonna like, oh my god, you're dumb, like I'm not gonna teach you, you don't know anything. Like having the patience and kindness and respect to just try to teach someone something, no matter their age, whether they're like a kid or an elder or older than you or even the same age as you, it's all about just showing that like just kindness and respect to others and understanding like you know our ages are important as humans, but they don't like define us 100%, as in the fact that like it's not black and white, like older people are smarter and know everything and deserve respect, and younger people are dumb and stupid and don't deserve respect. Like it's not like that. It shouldn't be like that, which is such a common sentiment, unfortunately. And it really bothers me because it's like, no, everybody deserves respect and kindness. And, you know, whether they're like, and people who are like super young and people who are super old, they're both vulnerable. And even more, we have to protect them even more, because so many people in like the middle and like age 20 to like, I don't know, 80, 75, some of them are really bad hearted and they try to take advantage of the vulnerable age groups. And this is really bad. And so like that's again like where it comes into respect. Like we have to make sure as well, like vulnerable age groups, like we treat them with respect, but we also have to kind of like also like protect them from people who would be bad faith people who would take advantage. Like elder scams are so common too. Like so many people try to like scam elders from their money or like take advantage of them when they have like dementia or Alzheimer's, and that's like really horrible and like awful. And like I don't like, it's also really bad. So just I wish like all of this would just, I think it would stop if we had the concept, if we could erase the concept that you know that like adults are, I guess, like are the like top ranked existence, I guess. And then like elders and kids are like lesser. I think we should like evolve past that concept and understand like everybody is a human individual. And yes, like children and elders are more vulnerable and we have to protect them, but that doesn't mean we should disrespect them or like look down on them. So like that's where we have to like kind of come together. And I think it can really come together in like these intergenerational communities, whether it's like religion or education or what else? work. Like, I guess hobbies sometimes, but not really. Like some hobbies are a little bit more split by age. But like in life, you're basically gonna be like intergenerational. So we should start there, like in these local communities, right? But yeah, especially I feel like religion and education are really like more opportunity to talk to people on a equal level. Equal level as in like equal opportunity to have discussions and like a serious discussion with a common interest, So I guess I don't know, you know what I mean. Tori-san says, I worked IT help desk for a long time, and some of my favorite callers were old folks who did want to learn. I'll take all day to show an old auntie how to use the computer. She's making an effort. Oh, I'm glad. No, exactly. That's really sweet. But it's true. Like, if they want to learn, like, yeah, like let's learn. Like, I hope that if I'm old and like I don't know whatever technology will come out, I hope a younger person will show that respect to me and be willing to teach me with kindness and patience. So that's why like in turn I want to also like again like treat others how you want to be treated. It doesn't matter their age. So it's kind of like that. I don't know, it's like that complicated, not complicated kind of situation, I guess. And I want to just kind of like, I guess what I kind of felt from Kami-sama, like to teach or like to understand or like to talk about, to open the discussion for, is that like, just like, try to evolve past the black and white mindset of like, you know, older people, adults deserve more respect than younger person, or even the other thing that like older people are like outdated and they don't know anything, and younger people know everything more. So it's like it's not that, like it shouldn't be that mindset. Like basically we're all individuals and we should try to respect each other. So you know and like I don't explain it, but like I'm trying to think back to like experiences I've had where like, so like even in my own life, I've known some like elders who, like, I don't want to sound mean when I say this, but they were pretty bad people. So like, they were older people like in their 60s and 70s, but they were very like, it was almost as if like they were still like emotionally like a teenager, in the sense of like very like typical like very driven by like emotions and like focus, like very like not really thinking about like things that they're responsible for. And that's not a bad thing when you're younger, because I was like that. Like I was kind of more focused on like myself and like my future, and like I didn't really have a lot of space in my mind for like grander responsibilities. you know but I've noticed like some people, maybe you guys also experience this, but like their body ages, but their like mindset is like, or their mental age is still like very young. And that's not to say like they don't have like they're not like rational, you know what I mean? It's more like emotional age rather than like mind age, because like the mind and the body will age, but like the emotional age will stay the same. And like, so for example, like they never really learn the ways to like handle heavy emotions, or like in a way to, they never really learned how to like kind of put aside their emotions and handle things like logically and calmly. I've noticed this a lot, as I've been growing up, as through the years. Some of the elder generations, like they end up being very like emotionally volatile, and it can be difficult to connect to them. And it's very sad because I want to like connect and like have genuine discussion and like learn from them. But when they don't really put in the work to age emotionally, like mature emotionally, I guess is what I'm trying to say, that's when problems happen, because, and it hurts a lot, because like, you want to connect to someone older, but they just like, they kind of like disappoint you, or they kind of like hurt you, and even if they don't intend to, but like just because the emotional maturity is smaller, they like, and it ends up hurting. So this is a big problem too, because like sometimes you want to show respect to someone older, but they don't give it back to you, and they hurt you. And like, as you said, like Michael earlier, like they say stuff like, I won't respect you until, you show you're useful. And that's pretty sad, when that happens. And I wish, and that's also important too, because just because you age physically, it's important for us to remember, like, we still have to put in the work to grow as people, to grow emotionally, to grow in thoughts. And, you know, because like for me, like who I was when I was 20 and who I was when I'm 30, I didn't change and grow because time passed. I changed and grew because I wanted to change and grow, because I put in the work to change and grow, because I looked at my old self and I said, I don't want to be like that anymore. I want to be a better person. So, yeah, like 21-year-old Olivia and like 31-year-old Olivia are very different people. But that's not because 10 years passed. It's because in those 10 years, I put in the work to change, to grow. So that's also important to remember when we're talking about like age and like growth and stuff. Oh, okay. Bye, Risa. Sorry. Oh my God, there's so many comments now. I'll read them in a second. But yeah, bye. Take care. Thank you so much for coming. Yes. But yeah, so like that's another thing too. Like, I really like, it's again like aging doesn't like automatically teach you life lessons. You have to put in the work to do that by yourself. And that's kind of where time is your like is the benefit of people because you have that time and those seasons to grow. So you have that more chances to grow when you want to grow. But if you don't want to grow, then time will just pass, and maybe you'll get some knowledge over time. But it doesn't mean like you can still very well be like you could be like in your like you're 67 and then like you're still like emotionally like 18, because you never really put in the work to grow or like evolve yourself as a person. And I'm not saying like I'm not saying like that's anyone here, but just like I've seen it in my life very often. Like I've just seen it a lot with people even my age. Like some people I know my age, they're like, you know, they're still like stuck in like the high school mindset. Like they still think it's okay to like gossip behind people's back, and they think it's okay. They think that they can just do whatever they want without consequences. And like I'm just like, guys, you're like 33. Like we gotta start evolving. Like we can't just stay like in the high school mindset forever. Like I don't want our generation to be like the same like the experiences I've had with generations before, where they're like still stuck in this like emotionally immature or like past self, and they don't want to grow. So that's also important when we're talking about like aging and growth and like respect. We also have to understand like a lot of onus is on us to use that time to try to grow and evolve ourselves. And I'm not saying you have to be perfect, but just like try, like just trying to grow yourself is really important. And a lot of people don't want to try. So that's where a lot of problems happen. Okay, let me get to the comments. So Tara-san says, I'm still learning how to regulate my emotions so I can be an example for my son. Nobody taught me how, and I think a lot of people are in the same boat in our generation. Yes, yes. So like, yeah, like that's the thing, because like I feel like the generation like older than us, like 60-year-olds, 70-year-olds, not everybody again, but like a lot of that generation, which is like, baby boomers, Gen X, um, they also didn't really like mature as much emotionally, generally speaking, not everybody. But like it's a trend that I have noticed, at least in like North America. So speaking from my experience, and like a little bit in Japan too. So in my experience in like Japan and North America, this is kind of like a trend where the Gen X and like baby boomers kind of like don't really try to grow over the years. So when it gets to like millennials and late Gen Z, we never really got that kind of like good example, I guess you could say. And I feel like I've gotten a good example from good examples in like the Konko Faith and like healthier environments, educational, religious environments. But in society overall, it was very hard to kind of like have a good role model in that sense. So I'm glad that you're putting in the work, Tora, to evolve emotionally and grow emotionally, especially for the sake of your son. That's very good. And I think that was very noble and something we should all strive to do. And it's good that you recognize that, because otherwise, if we just ignore it and we just keep the same patterns over the years, it can become very like, again, like we're not really helping ourselves or helping the younger generation. So it's good to try it, and I'm really thankful you are. So thank you. Okay, Vidimson says, it seems to me that many people lose the will to live and grow as they get older. Very often, older people deliberately pretend that they don't understand something, or don't know how to do it, when in reality they don't want to. Yes, I've seen that a lot too. Like, so like I know that there's like older people, or like people my generation, like they're like, they're like, oh my god, life is so hard. I don't want to keep going, like, but what I mean by that is like as a joke, like, like tired salary man, like that kind of like silly, like not a silly aesthetic, but like the memes of like overworked or like life is hard, etc. But like real talk, like having motivation to live and to keep trying and to keep learning is so, so, so important. And that makes me think back to the ladies at Shiba Kyokai who were like so energetic, so genki. Like we couldn't imagine they were like 70 and up because they they kept on that hope to like keep living and keep praying to Kami-sama, and trusting in Kami-sama and wanting to grow as they are as people. And you can see it in them, and it's like very inspiring and very like it's very uplifting. And again, like I felt ashamed because I'm like, they have so much energy, and I'm like tired salary man energy. But but no, you're absolutely correct that as we age, we cannot like just give up or like think like or fall into the trap of like nostalgia, because like nostalgia is very tricky, because like you look back on the past and you're like, oh, it was better in the past. But actually, like lately I've been like actually thinking about my past, and I'm like, it was actually horrible. And I'm happier that time passed. Not that it was horrible, but it was like now, right? The like now has good things and bad things, and back then had good things and bad things. And nostalgia just makes you remember the good things, but it makes you kind of like fade away the bad things. But in fact, no matter your age or no matter the era or no matter where you are in life, there's always going to be good things and bad things, and that's a fact. So even now when I'm like doing things like that, like I am now, I think like well, in 20 years, I'm probably going to say, oh, I miss 2026. It was such a good time. Meanwhile, and now I'm saying like 2026 is so, so tiring, but that's just like nostalgia, right? So we have to like just keep going forward and like appreciate each day and not lose the will to live, as you're saying. Just keep taking it a day at a time. Don't just like, think, don't let nostalgia cloud the reality of things, and try to make the now and the future even better than the past, even if it's difficult, because yes, like there's a lot of things out of our control globally. But I'm thinking like even, the fruit of your arrow years, like the early 2000s, like there was war going on. There was a lot of bad things going on. Like, we say it's like, oh, it's such a good era of like internet and media, but like even back then there was like horrible things going on in the world. So we can't just say like that was good, this is bad. Like life is just going, and it will have good things and bad things. It doesn't matter the era. So we should try to make the most of it. And to do that, as you say, Vadim-san, we have to like keep having the will to live. And and as you say too, like older people, they kind of just like they tend to like give up. Like you said, like they don't understand it, or I don't know. They like throw their hands up, like I don't know, and they just kind of like just they're just like it's not my problem or anything like that. But the truth is like it's important to try. It's important to keep trying and having that motivation to keep going, and not just giving up because like a lot of people like say like, oh, like it's over at like I don't know, some people are saying it's over at 25 now. I'm like 25, it's nothing, right? But it's never over. Like as long as you're breathing, you still can learn new things and try new things and make your life better. And like yes, like the body physically will age, but like I feel like I was sicker when I was younger, to be honest. Like I feel more energetic and like healthier now than I was like 10 years ago. So I don't know, health and body and everything shifts, and it's better not to focus on that. Just again, like just keep trying, keep learning, keep doing what you can, take it 24 hours at a time. And if you see something you should try to learn or try to do, um, just try to do it, even as an elder person. Um, just try. Like that's the important thing. But a lot of people give up, like you said, and it's very sad. Like even my age, I'm like, why are you like they're like people my age, like in their 30s, they're like I'm old, it's over, I can't do anything now, like we're done. And I'm like like me, you're done, like where there's still like the whole thing left, like there's still like 80 years maybe of life, and it's like why like now you're giving up, like it's crazy, right? I'm laughing because it's like it's just so ridiculous. Like I'm not laughing at them or like at this mindset. It's just because I understand like life is overwhelming, it's difficult, and I'm not making fun of that. I'm just laughing because it's like it's just so like maddening, because it's like we have to, like I just want to shake people and be like wake up, like we like now is the time to do things, right? So I just like want people to not lose motivation or like think that like it's all over and there's nothing you can do, and it's like not like no more doomsday stuff, like as long as we're still breathing and as long as the sun is still rising, we should just keep trying. Like that's what I'm trying to say. And I know that it's really hard to kind of get into that mindset when there's a lot of bad news and there's a lot of difficult things and there's a lot of financial difficulties, but like we just have to keep trying. Like that's what life is, right? Like it doesn't matter if you're human or not human, like everything just keeps going and it keeps trying to go forward and evolve. And I wish that like more older people and people my generation will try that more. So I'm glad that you also noticed this, and hopefully we can try to motivate people more, and so they don't lose hope as they age, or like don't give up on trying to learn new things, or you know, try to stay motivated and energetic. I think that's really important. um, I mean, it's okay to complain again. Like, I'm not saying you have to be like, let's go, like, all the time. Like, I'm not saying to be like that, but, just take it easy. Don't be doomsday. Just keep trying. And yeah, that's it. Okay, let's see. Tora-san says, I think we can learn something from all our elders. Some of them just happen to be warnings, not aspirational stories. I guess, unfortunately, so. Again, like we are saying, like some people get to an age and they just didn't put the work in to kind of grow themselves or keep trying to move forward. And we see the result of that. And we should not fall into the same patterns. And the thing about that too is, like, even if someone is that age, like, they can still change. Like even though someone is like 85, 86, like they can always change. That's the thing. I know someone who like started drawing when they were like 78 or something. And they were like, you know what, I'm gonna learn how to draw. Like, I never tried it my whole life, I'm gonna do it. And I swear, like in the last like 5 years, they draw better than me, and I've been drawing since I was a kid. So like, and they're like still alive, they're still drawing, they're painting. Like, again, like, as long as you're breathing and as long as the sun is still rising, again, like, you can just keep going. Like, there's no, like, you don't have to say like it's done here and then I just exist as like watching TV my whole life. Like, no, like, just keep, it's okay, we can keep going. um and again, like, I think what really inspired me about this too is like when I was in Gakuin and Konko Seminary School, I had some students, like classmates, who were like 80 years old. Like, I think the oldest classmate was like 90, and she was training to be a Konko minister. And a lot of people will say, like, why? Because maybe she only has like 1 year, 2 years, 10 years left. It's not a long time. But it doesn't matter. She wanted to be a Konko minister, and she's in Gakuin, and she's going to do her best. And that was really inspiring to me, because it's like, I don't know, I was like moved, because it was like logically, I guess, like society, they like, oh, you should be like younger, you should have like, energy, you should, right? But for her, it was, she didn't care. Like, she just did it because she wanted to be a minister for Kami-sama. And Kami-sama's like, yes, like, because she's in Gakuin, right? And, Gakuin accepted her, and she got approved by Konko-sama to be a minister. So I'm like, like, she was like 90 something. She might still be alive, honestly. And there was another set of classmates who were like 70 and up. And they were doing it. They were training to become a minister and to serve their home shrine. And yeah, like, they didn't say to themselves, oh, I'm like 80, I'm 90, I can't do anything else anymore, I should just give up. Like, they did it with Kami-sama. So, that was very like moving to me, because I was like, yeah, you know what, that's right. Like, why should they not do it? If, excuse me, if they feel Kami-sama close and they have the ability to train at Gakuin, then yeah, let's do it. Like, it doesn't matter their age, right? And a lot of people here in Japan live to like 100, like, and up. So, next thing, like, again, like, that was another thing I realized in Gakuin is like, so, sometimes I worried, this is a little personal. Sometimes I worried, like, what if I got ordained early because I'm gonna die early? Right? I was like, what if, I'm gonna get ordained at 22, but what if that means I'm gonna die at like 40 because, and then Kami-sama's like giving me mercy because I don't have any time, but I learned more with Kami-sama, and it's okay. But that could have been such a situation. Like, what if like a person got ordained at age 75 and they lived to be 90? So then that means that they were serving Kami-sama for 25 years. And let's say I got ordained at 22, but I tragically died at like 28. So it doesn't matter the age. Life is unpredictable. Like, anything can happen at any age. Tomorrow's not guaranteed. The next 10 minutes is not guaranteed. And someone who starts a new life path can have that life path for like 20 years, 30 years, 10 years. And even if someone starts their path earlier, like at 20 or 30, they might not even have 10 years in that path. So we don't know. Like, that's how unpredictable life is and how uncertain it is. So that's why, like, you just have to go for it. Like, keep going. Like, as long as you're breathing, just take every day, like the Konko teaching says, like, take every day as a New Year's day. Greet the sunrise as if it was the New Year's sunrise, and give thanks for each day, and just keep going. And that was really like impactful for me and really important for me to see. So like, yeah, like, we don't know. So just do what you can and just keep trying to grow as a person. Oh, sorry, there's so many comments. Let's see. Oh, sorry. So many comments happened. I don't know. YouTube does this, at least today, it's doing this thing where it's like it stays at the thing and then it's like, and like all these comments going. I'm like, oh no. Okay, so let's see here. Tora-san left. Sorry, not Tora-san. Avery-san left. And Tora-san says, Vadim, you're 100% right. Some of that, I think, is legit loss of brain plasticity, but a lot of it is just an attitude that they shouldn't have to try hard at things anymore. Vadim-san says, my grandmother says she doesn't have any friends, but she feels lonely. And when I suggest, why don't you try meeting someone? She says there's no point and that she's disappointed in friendship. And Vadim-san says, and she often complains that she can't swim, even though she thinks it's a very useful skill. I tell her that swimming is good for her health and that I can sign her up for swimming lessons myself. But she says something like, who wants to see an old lady in the pool, and instead makes me go swimming. She wants to swim, but she feels like her life is over, so I have to do it. I'm so sorry. That made me a little bit emotional because it reminded me of my mom when she was getting older. My mom lived to be like 61, so she was still really young. But she said a lot of the same things as your grandma. She would say like, "Oh, I'm too old. Like, I don't want to make friends," and any new thing, like, she just kind of kept distance from it. And it always made me really sad because, yeah, like, I just want them to try and I don't like. It's hard to see where they're coming from, like when they say like, no one wants to see like me, or like very self-depreciating kind of comments, and it's sad. And you just want them to see the value in themselves and to just try to keep going and live, but it's hard to let them see it, so it's very sad. But I don't know. I hope your grandma can change her mind, because you never know, right? So yeah, I'll pray to Kami-sama, like, she can hopefully see what you're trying to teach her, and hopefully join you together too, and so hopefully it gets better with her. Let's see. Tora-san says, in reply to Vadim-san, Tora-san says, it's hard to put yourself out there at that age, but everybody longs for connections. Maybe try to convince her to join an activity instead of where she might need a friend. And yes, Vadim-san mentioned swimming. And Tora-san says, Grandma, other old ladies want to see in the pool so they have someone to look up to. Exactly. But I get it. She's just kvetching at you and doesn't feel like anything can change. It's hard to pull someone out of that mindset. They have to want to get out of the hole. Yeah, no, it's true. It's very hard. Honestly, I guess that's kind of why I want, like, I kind of want more, I don't know how to say it. Like, again, like, we erase that kind of, like, ageism mindset. Because, like, I feel like there's this kind of idea, like, once you're, especially, like, especially as a woman, like, once you get a certain age, you should be, like, invisible. Like, you shouldn't exist anymore. Um, but I don't think, and even for men a little bit, like, even men, like, if you're not, like, older and attractive, I guess, like, you should just be invisible. Um, but I don't think our life worth should be based on, like, the physical appearance or, like, the age of someone. Like, we're all gonna age and we're all gonna die. So just let people live, and not try to erase them or think that they're lesser because of, like, lookism or, like, appearances. Um, and I think it would be better if we can, as a society, like, kind of evolve past that, because yeah, like, it's a very real, like, fear and, like, pressure from a lot of, like, from overall society that, like, you know like, you should just, like, stay in your house and not do anything because you're old or something, like, or because you're not attractive or whatever, right? That's, like, I don't like that either. And that's why I love, like, seeing, like, older people and, like, maybe not, like, conventionally attractive or whatever. I don't believe in that, but, like, I understand what people say when they mean it. Like, but that's why I prefer, like, I like seeing, like, a variety of people, putting themselves out there, going out, walking, going swimming, going to the gym, even posting on, like, Instagram or social media. Like, I want to see, I want to see, like, older people living their lives, because I'm gonna get old someday, and I want to keep living my life. I don't want to go invisible into the abyss of nothing. Like, you know what I mean? And I think it's important to show, like, life doesn't stop when you get a certain age. Like, you don't have to, like, stop existing in society just because you age. Like, right? We're all gonna age, and we all have a place in society. And I love to see just more of that, like, more people of all ages doing things and enjoying life. I really want to see that, because, like, again, like, my mom too, she was kind of, like, in that mindset, like, I'm old and nobody cares about me, nobody, like I don't matter. And I'm like, but, like, you matter to me, and a lot of people respect you and value you. And, like, I couldn't understand at the time, like, why she would have that mindset, but I see it now as I get older. This, like, weird, like, concept in society that, like, you should stop existing after a certain age. Um, usually that's like age 50, I guess. Not really. I don't know. It depends, right? It depends, but it's just really upsetting. It's really upsetting to see, and I don't like it. Um, that's why, like, even whenever I see, like, an older anime character, I'm like, yes. I'm like, I love seeing old anime characters. So I don't know. It's just stuff like that, right? So, but I hope we can change it. Like, I don't know, if I am lucky enough to get old, like, in my 60s or 70s, I will absolutely be posting on social media. I'll go swimming, I'll go to the beach, and, like, I want to do I'm not going to stop living just because I get older, because that's just life. Like, it's not a sin to get older. It's not a moral failing to be older. It's just life. Like, so. But again, like, I don't blame individuals. I just blame this, like, weird social, like, mindset of things that appear. I don't know where it comes from, honestly, but I don't like it. Okay, so yeah. So James says, by the way, Tora, it's good to see you here. Yes, glad to see you. Tyson says, love to join in whenever I'm able. It just happens to be lunchtime here. Oh, good. Thank you for joining. I know it's always busy, so I really appreciate you coming in. Tori says, also, I love getting older so far. I didn't know anything when I was in my 20s and didn't feel like I was capable of anything. Now I'm just like, I'll figure it out with a YouTube tutorial, whatever. Yes. Yeah, no, exactly. Like, I don't know. I like getting older. I liked having the time to grow myself and, live. I like having more time to live, of course. Like, again, like life is not easy, but I'm glad I had more chances to keep existing as a human because I know it's limited. So that's like, it's good. I'm happy, So it's, yeah. Tori-san says, I'm not trying to overload you, Olivia Sensei, but we're going to be great old people. Oh, thank you. Yes. Let's all of us here become awesome old people. I don't know how to explain it. Or like, let's all, like, yeah, let's all just become good people as we age. And even if we're already older, I don't know, like people might be watching this and they're already like older, but it's still, again, like never too late to change or to grow or to keep new things happening. Like the 90-year-old sensei who became a minister. My son says, oh my God, Olivia Sensei, I think it's a similar thing sometimes. I want to become a minister, but I know I probably won't be able to until I retire. Most of my family didn't live to 65. Oh my gosh. But, like the teaching says, right? Like people say death doesn't have an aversion to time, but Kami-sama can help you extend your lifespan, even though like maybe that's the situation, like biologically that's like in your family. Like for me too, like most people don't live in my family like past 80. But if we follow, like, there's many teachings in Konko Faith that say like, Kami-sama can help us, you know, have us fulfill what we need to fulfill, and our time will come. Everyone has to die, but Kami-sama can help us, have us pass away at the time where we can know that we have done everything that we wanted to do in this lifetime. Especially if it's helping others through Toritsugi mediation and helping others, like in general, like, devoting our lives to helping others. This is a very noble thing. And I know it will help Kami-sama too. So, I know that like together with Kami-sama, it can help happen. So I think it's a really good like thing to pray for. And you never know. You never know what might happen too, because just one thing I've learned is that so much can change in 24 hours. We don't know what tomorrow brings. Again, like we don't know what the next like hour brings. So, you never know how life will change. And even for me, like I once said like, oh, I want to be a minister someday, but I don't think I'll be able to until I'm like 40, 45, because I felt like I had to go through life more and kind of like establish myself before I kind of try to attempt to become a minister, because I felt like I wasn't really in the right headspace to become a minister back then. But then the opportunity happened where I was able to try training. And I said, okay, well, I'll try. And if I fail, that's okay, because I'll have the experience of trying to become a minister. But if I somehow manage to become a minister, then I will do my best from this day forward and do my best to serve Kami-sama. Even though I know I'm not going to be the ideal minister I wanted to be. And I wasn't, because me 10 years ago was like, I needed to grow myself more, and I still need to grow myself more. And I still like to believe in the next 10 years, maybe I'll become more my ideal minister and beyond. But that's the thing, right? Like we have to keep trying always. and keep trying to grow and just take it a day at a time. So that was something really important for me to learn. And yeah, so just Tora-san, like just keep praying to Kami-sama, and you never know how life may turn or change. So could definitely be before retirement, and definitely can be possible that you can live past 65 and have a longer, fuller life. Because you, not because Kami-sama's like pleased that you're praying to them, but because that you are opening your soul, your Mitama no Kami, to Tenchika no Kami-sama and Konjin-sama, and you're like having that connection to manifest and receive blessings. So you're kind of having a two-way street between you and Kami-sama. Whereas if people don't put in that to build that relationship, it's harder for Kami-sama to reach them or allow blessings to happen. Not allow, but for example, like I mentioned in a stream before, like if a package comes at the door and nobody's there to receive it, then you'll never be able to see the contents of the package. So it's the same thing, Kami-sama is always giving everybody blessings and wants to help people evolve themselves and have their prayers come true. But unfortunately, it's difficult for people to receive or to have the mindset to connect to Kami-sama to receive those blessings. And so unfortunately, it can be the case that many blessings are missed or not received. So that's why it's important that we try to develop a bond with Kami-sama and receive those blessings. So that's something that's really important to remember, and I think it's possible that you're able to do this. Especially your faith is already very strong. So yes, but thank you so much. Let's see the comments. Vadim-san says, thank you. I'm sorry this reminded you of something similar. Oh no, don't be sorry. I'm just it's good to talk about. It's a real thing that happens through life. Vadim-san says, I find it strange when my grandmother tries to live a better life through me. She often asks about things she likes and wants me to take an interest in them. But she herself has even stopped reading literature, even though she made me read it when I was a child. Now, when I share what I've read with her and ask if she's reading anything, she replies, I haven't read anything in a long time. I'm relaxing and watching old movies. Oh. Before she retired, she worked at a library. Oh no. I hope I'm so sorry to hear. I hope she'll be able to read again more. But it's true, this happens a lot too. This is also another thing I've noticed, is that whether it's a grandparent or a parent, it's they see kind of their grandchild or child as an extension of themselves. And it's almost I don't want to say that I will say this, I'm not a parent or grandparent, so I can't say with 1,000% certainty someone who is a parent or a grandparent could. But in terms of what I've observed and seen through the years, sometimes it is the case where a grandparent or parent will kind of see themselves in their child or grandchild. And so everything you do, your grandmother feels oh, well, Vadim doing it, so it's kind of I'm doing it too, because it's seeing how he can go through life, enjoying or interact, or not interacting, but reading and having the same interests as she did. And then it's almost they kind of let go of that part of themselves, and they let go of it into the child or grandchild. But I wish this wouldn't happen, because then it becomes harder to connect to them, in terms of, not that you you can't connect, but it's just instead of having the opportunity to share a common interest, it's more like it's a little bit bittersweet, because it's like they pass the torch to you, or the baton, or they pass it to you, but then they don't participate anymore. So now it's like, I'm given this gift, but we can't share it. And it feels like very bittersweet and a little bit lonely. And this happened to me too sometimes, like with my mom and even my dad in some cases, and my grandmother. Um, yeah, they've done similar, like in terms of like, like my dad used to draw a lot. He used to be in graphic design. And when he saw I started taking interest in drawing, because I was kind of inspired by his drawings, he kind of stopped drawing after that. And it made me really sad, because like I wanted to see his drawings, but he was like, oh no, like, the world is changing, like everything's on the computer. There's not really any room for traditional art. And I was like, that's not true. And I'm still drawing with the pencil and paper, and it's like, I guess like he felt like he kind of passed it down to me, but it's not like he died. So, I wish that he would have still drawn, like, as I grew up, and not like just pass the torch. Because it's one thing if someone is going to pass away, or, like near their deathbed. Not like they're elder, but I mean, like, when it's like almost time, right? It's one thing. That's one thing. Um, but when it's like they're still alive, it's a little bit bittersweet, because it's like you can't connect with them, and then it also feels a little bit of pressure, because it's like, if I stop this, then I feel like I'm like disappointing them. And it's like a lot of pressure, and it might not even happen like on purpose, but just it's kind of like I don't know, I don't really know why that pattern can happen. I don't know if it has anything to do with like social, or like it's innate, or but I just kind of wish that it wouldn't happen so much. And yeah, I hope that your grandma can, feel more motivated. And I pray to Kami-sama, because it's very like, I know it's very complex and complicated, so that things work out better. Oh, Tora-san says, "Oh, I'm gonna live past 65 if it kills me." Wait, yes, you will. I know that for sure. I know for sure. Like, I don't even have to knock on wood, because it's gonna happen. So, yes. Tora-san also says, "I've seen that before. The idea that they pass on the interest and let it go. It's sad, because to me it seems like the perfect opportunity to bond over a shared interest." Exactly. Yeah. I wish. I wish it wouldn't. I wish it was different. Mike says, "I'm grateful my parents. I'm super grateful my parents let me go my personal way." Well, yes, I'm glad. I'm glad too. Yeah, like it's like it's good to share interests, and like pass them down, but without letting them go yourself. But it's also good to nurture our own, like the child's own uh, interests as well. You know, I know, not like anything in this situation, but like sometimes you see like some kind of types of parents, and like, what are they called? I forgot. So like in Canada and America, there was this show. Some of you might know. It was called like Toddlers and Tiaras. It was like where these moms, or these, like, I think they were called dance moms. They would like they would basically like make their daughters like a mini version of them, to like do all the stuff that they wanted to do when they were young. And so they would like put their daughters in like pageants, or like ballet, or like other like theatrical theater pageantry kind of thing. Um but it was very bad, because like these kind of environment is not really like good. I mean, not good, but like not really. I wouldn't say it's good for children's education so much, in my opinion. I think if the child wants to, it's one thing. Like that's cute. It's like okay, let her do the thing. Excuse me. But if the mom is forcing the daughter, like pressuring her to do that, then it's like it's very bad. And I remember this like phenomenon, like in the early 2000s or something. Like there was like all these like dance moms, and they were like forcing their daughters to like do all this stuff, and it was like very weird. It was like very weird. I was like, just let them be kids, you know. So I'm glad that like my mom didn't do any of that to me. She just let me explore what I wanted to explore. Like we shared some interest, and I was able to connect with her on that. But like it's not like she forced me. Like Olivia, you have to take ballet today. Like she didn't do that kind of thing. So thankfully, so I'm glad that I didn't have to like have that kind of like high pressure childhood, like to like live vicariously, or like my mom didn't like live vicariously through my childhood. She just like do whatever you want to do. She was like, do you want to do ballet? I'm like, no. And she's like, okay. So that was pretty good too. I'm glad. Let's see. William says, ultimately, this leads to a strained relationship. I often get comments about how she doesn't like my oh no, she doesn't like my physical appearance, and it would be better this way, rather than that. But I am me, and she is her. Yes. We rarely talk on the phone because every conversation turns into an hour or two, and I end up crying. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry that happens. Yeah, I wish you could see you for who you are as an individual, and you know, like you have your own style, your own interests, your own personality. You know, it's good to if you're able to connect, but she shouldn't try to make you an idea of who you are not. You know, like it's important to accept, like not only is it very important for grandparents and parents to accept their grandchild and child for who they are as a person, and you know, accept your differences and your individual personality, your individual self. It's so important for that acceptance to happen. But also like even just like in general, like you know, like the fact of the matter is, like, no matter, I think that's where it comes into play, right? Like, no matter where we're born or who our parents are or our culture, language, we are shaped by these things as people. But in my experience, in my viewpoint, is that like ultimately we all have an individual soul, like mitama no kami-sama, and that is like an existence that cannot really be changed, or not be changed, but it cannot be like, it's not defined by external factors like culture, language, family. So unfortunately this means like, yes, there might be conflict in family when you're not like aligning to their ideas, but and so that's why it hurts a lot when there's not really that acceptance, because it feels like the deepest part of our identity and ourselves is feeling like it's rejected and it's not accepted. And this is very, very painful to go through, and it's happened to me a lot. I guess I'm like the black sheep of my family, I guess. Maybe not so much now as an adult. Maybe it's kind of gotten better because I am an adult. I'm an individual. They've come to just accept that as Olivia. But when I was growing up, this happened so many times. Like you're saying, like in your experience, like why is your hair like that? Why do you dress like that? You know, what is this like weird religious stuff you're doing, this weird spiritual stuff you're doing, et cetera, et cetera. It's like I I felt so bad because I wanted to try to be like everybody else in the family and my community, even in my school, but like I couldn't because that wasn't like who I am inside. Uh, and I don't know, I just couldn't. I couldn't. Like, of course, I was respectful. I was nice to everybody. I didn't impose my beliefs or my differences on others. Um, I was respectful at like family gatherings. Like I toned down my outfits because I used to, and I still do. I like to wear Gothic Lolita fashion. I liked, alternative fashion. I still do, but whenever I went to a family gathering, I just wear like a normal dress, a normal hairstyle, etc. So I was trying to do my best to be good and compromise and like be respectful, while still being myself. And I really hoped that my family and my friends, and not my friends so much, but my family and my community and like the overall society I was in would kind of try to see that effort and like respect me for that and like try to meet me halfway between myself and between like the culture around me. But unfortunately, like it didn't really work out all the time, and I was made fun of a lot and like seen as the weird one. And yeah, it's very hard to go through that. So I'm sorry that you have to go through that too, Vadim son, with your grandma. And I really am praying like she'll come around. Like there's a lot of things here. I hope she'll come around for. I hope she'll try to like understand you. Like the deepest part of like your personality and yourself. I hope she'll try to like connect you with your hobbies and interests. And I hope that she'll try to also like not give into the societal concepts and ideas, and just kind of like just live her life more freely while truly seeing for who you are, and understanding that you know you're her grandson. And you know the bond between her and you, she shouldn't let all this like society stuff get in the way between your bond. So I really pray that you know she'll be able to open her heart more, both to herself and also towards you. And you'll have a better relationship, I hope. I might be praying to Kami-sama for that. But I know it's not like, I know it's hard because it's very complicated, and she's been through a lot, her life, I'm sure. So I know it's not like gonna like magically fix everything, but I do just hope that things get better, in their own way, in the ways that they can. So yes, thank you as well for like sharing it on the live. I know it's like personal and everything, but I really appreciate sharing with everybody, and all of us here in the chat. So thank you so much. Mm. So let's see. Um, Tara says, "I'm sorry, Vadim. I wonder if part of it is her being an older woman and maybe not having the opportunity to make her own choices as a younger person. But you aren't her proxy." Yeah. Jameson says, "It's okay, thank you. I think, yeah, she grew up in the USSR, and there wasn't much freedom there, and there were a lot of oppressive social constraints." That's true. Tyson says, "That doesn't excuse her, but I'm sure it's a struggle to manage those feelings in a healthy way." Yeah, it's hard. It's like really, really complicated. I just hope like together with Kamisama, like she can like, I know that maybe she probably doesn't pray to Kamisama. What I mean by that is like, through prayers for her to Kamisama, that, you know, Tenchika no Kamisama is everywhere. So, you know, hopefully that she can feel Kamisama's presence and wisdom within her, and maybe it will spark something new in her own mitama, in her own soul. So I've seen that happen too. Because like my grandma, she was like very, very Catholic. and she was very she was very like she was very intense. She was very like she had a big personality, and you know sometimes like there was moments where like I felt, how to explain this, like it was very hard to open up to her because she was very like she would have very like strong opinions, and like she was very fiery, and like you know it was hard, it was very very hard to connect to her. I'll put it like that. um but when I met Konko Faith, I didn't know what to do. So I just I just prayed to Kami-sama. Honestly, I was like, Kami-sama, like please help me like connect to my grandma, and like I want to have a better relationship with her, and I don't want to always like feel like uncomfortable when I go visit her and like talk to her, and I don't want to always deal with her like judging my appearance and like saying mean things about me, and like saying really bad stuff to me. Like not just like judging me, but she would like sometimes she would like make comments about my body and stuff, and like it was not very nice sometimes. So I would pray to Kami-sama, like I hope that she would kind of like be nicer and like be more open to me, because I obviously like I wanted a good relationship with my grandma. So and while my grandma was like always herself through the years, I did feel like in the last few years when I was praying to Kami-sama about it, um, she kind of like she was able to meet me halfway. And I remember one moment where like before she was like very against like Konko Faith, and like she really really didn't like that like I was going to Japan and stuff like that. But I remember when I came back from Japan the first time, I brought her some souvenirs. And I said, "Oh, no, these are for you, souvenirs." And she was like, she looked kind of like, but then she actually accepted them, and she was like, "Well, thank you for the souvenirs." I was like, for the first time, like I could feel like she was actually trying to like connect to me, and it was like very very tiny little things, but I still remember one day when after I got ordained, because I told her I was ordained as like Konko Faith, and at first she really didn't like it, but over the years slowly, I remember one day she gave me like a little rosary, and she was like, she put the rosary in my hand, and she's like, "I know you're a priest, so she's like, can you bless these rosaries for me?" And I said, I was like shocked because first of all, I don't think I can bless rosaries, but I guess in that moment I felt like she acknowledged me as like an actual like person who serves the divine, and she acknowledged that like I put dedication into this path and I was serious about it. And so even if it was in her own way, I was very moved by that gesture. And and like I didn't know what to do because I don't think I could bless rosaries, but I did like later that day, like I put them on my altar to Kami-sama, and I said, Kami-sama, my grandma gave me this rosary, and she said if I could bless it. And I said to Kami-sama, like I hope it means like she sees me, like she respects my life path and she sees it as like genuine, like it's not like a fake thing, or like something she looks down on. And then I prayed to Kami-sama about it, and yeah, and then when I went to return it to her, she gave me two rosaries actually, and she kept one, and she let me keep the other. So it kind of felt like it was kind of like a bond of sorts, like a new connection. But unfortunately, like soon after, then she passed away. So it was kind of bittersweet. But I'm thankful because I'm glad we got to have that last moment of like almost like a reconciliation together. instead of, if she just passed away and we never had that moment. So I was really thankful for that. I genuinely feel like Kami-sama, like praying to Kami-sama, and Kami-sama like trying to like connect to her, my grandma, even though it was like not like, it wasn't like a story or something. She wasn't like, I accept you practicing Konko Faith and I'm gonna come and pray to Kami-sama, etc., etc., etc. Like she never did that. And that's fine. Like I prefer it that way. Like she still was herself. But I was very thankful because we were able to have that kind of like little connection before she passed away. So, I was really thankful for that. And I think it's possible, like, maybe there will be a way with Kami-sama that she can open her heart a little bit more. And, hopefully it will lead to a good connection long term too. So I hope for that for you. Yes, Tarzan says, we're all praying that your grandma goes swimming and meets a new best friend and lets up on you a little bit. Yes. Vinita says, thank you. Vinita says this also, well, that's a nice story. Thank you for sharing. Oh, no, of course. Yeah, I'm happy to share. And, like, it was very important for me, too. Like, one of the important moments of my life. And I still keep that rosary. I don't keep it on my altar right now, but I keep it, like, on my mom's, like, my family altar, like the little place I have for my mom's ashes and, like, personal family stuff. I keep it there in, like, a little box because I don't want to lose it or expose it to the elements. So it's a very important moment for me. Torsten says, I think sometimes very faithful people of different religions sense a common thread between each other, even if they have theological disagreements. I'm glad it seems like your grandmother did. Yes, I'm so thankful too. And like, yeah, like honestly, I feel like, I guess for me, like, how to explain this? Like, I personally feel like every religious belief, like in terms of like how to explain this? Like, so not all religious beliefs, but I feel like when people pray to God, as in like divinity, right? Like no matter like, so like there's like a layer of like how the religion will like explain divinity and like have a framework of divinity, I guess, and it doesn't matter the religion, whether it's like more monotheist or like polytheist or like animist, etc. There's lots of paths to understanding divine. And I personally believe in like multiple deities and like stuff like that. But I do feel like this is also why I'm more Konko Faith, is that like whether it's like all the deities, all people, like around it all is Tenchika no Kami-sama, like within everything is Tenchika no Kami-sama. So like basically like the core or like the root of what is divine or like sacred, whether that's like from our souls or like other deities or etc., like even within nature, I feel like the root of everything is like connected to Tenchika no Kami-sama. And it doesn't mean like, again, like Tenchika no Kami-sama is the name in Konko Faith, and it's like the Japanese name. And there's of course like the connection to Konjin-sama. I'm not like erasing that. But I also feel like, of course, like this energy is so ancient and so old. They existed before cultures, before humanity, before language. So, they exist within culture, but also beyond it, because they're so ancient, before even the earth was formed. So what I mean by that is that sometimes I feel like people who really try to connect to the divinity, like the concept of divinity. Whether that's like through another deity, or like through an ancestor, or like through a religious path. I feel like the core of it all is like connecting back to the existence I call Tenchika no Kami-sama. And that's why like as you said, Tora, like like there's a common thread. And I personally feel like that common thread is like Tenchika no Kami-sama. I would call that thread Tenchika no Kami-sama. I know other religions would call it something else. But again, like it's existing like before any culture, any language, any religion. So I feel like everyone has the potential to connect to Tenchika no Kami-sama and like feel them deeply. And I feel like that might have been what happened with me and my grandma, because she was like super devout, like 110% Catholic. Like she was like by the book Catholic. She would go to church like twice a week, like all that. But I feel like because of that devoutedness, or like seeking to connect to the divine, she was also able to connect to like the roots of this like divine nature. And I feel like maybe that's where we're able to have that kind of like common ground. And again, like it's not really necessarily like religion, really, but like even through our own souls, like if we are able to, we can connect to Tenchika no Kami-sama, this root divinity, through our own souls. Like everybody can. Like this is like, it doesn't matter if they're like, even if they're like the most staunch atheistic person ever. If we have a soul, it's possible. So I feel like we're able to connect on that level, that like very deep, ancient, like root Kami-sama level, that like transcended beyond like the human culture, the human religions, and we were able to find a connection between each other that I really wished for my whole life, honestly. I'm just sad it came so late, but again, I'm thankful it happened at all. So it was very important for me to be able to experience that. And even for my mom, like my mom was not devout Catholic, but she was like more agnostic. And even like before she passed away, we had some moments where I was finally able to like connect to her, like on a deeper level, and like kind of like resolve some stuff between us that needed to be resolved. And I'm thankful we were able to tie those loose ends before she passed away. And I feel personally we were able to do that through Kami-sama, through this like ancient root energy, from like soul to soul. I feel like we were able to connect that way, and set aside like the personal differences and like the personal understandings, and like because she didn't believe in anything like I believed in, like on paper. Like she was like, I don't believe that there's even souls, and she didn't really believe in like God or anything. But she was like, but I'm not going to say I don't fully believe, because maybe that's foolish, because I don't really know 100%. But basically, she was like very atheist. But she always kept an open mind just in case. But even though we believe very different things, we were able to connect those final moments together. And I think she was able to see like, um, like just see me soul to soul and connect that way and resolve some things that we needed to resolve. And I think that was thanks to Tenchika no Kami-sama, personally speaking. Because before, when I tried to connect with her, like even before like all the like situation with what happened with her health and passing away, I feel like when I prayed to Kami-sama to kind of like have this connection, it was possible, right? So I don't know, but again, it's not like you have to be like Konko Faith necessarily, or like you have to be any particular religion or like belief set. It's just understanding like this like core divinity in like everything, and then how can you like connect to that, and how does it relate to the connection in your soul and connecting to others on a soul level through that. So yeah, but thank you. Oh, okay, Williamson says, thank you for this stream. I have to get up early, so I'm going to head out now. I know you have things to do in the morning too, so please don't push yourself if you need to have some rest. Oh, thank you so much. Yes. Actually, this is a good time to stop. I didn't realize it was 2:30 a.m. already. I got super into the conversations about all these topics. It was funny because I said earlier, I'm like, oh, today's gonna be a short stream. I'll just talk about like generational differences, and then we got deep. So, but thank you so much for joining, everyone. I really appreciate it so much. And it's good to see everyone here. And thank you for sharing your wisdoms and comments as well, and for the really good discussions. So thank you so much. So I hope you all have a good day and good night. And yeah, see you next time on Saturday. Is today Tuesday? Wait. Yes. Oh no. Yeah, today's Tuesday. Okay. So see you next time on Saturday. Yes. And I'll be sure to get lots of sleep. Thank you so much. Okay. Bye for now. Thank you, everyone. Bye bye. ありがとうございます。